You will see the word solve a lot in your mathematical travels, but what does it mean? Put simply, solve means find the value of a letter. If the letter is x, your target will be to get x equals something. When we solve equations, we first need to understand inverse operations. This is a fancy way of saying the opposites. The inverse of add is subtract, and the inverse of subtract is add. The inverse of multiply is divide, and the inverse of divide is multiply. When we solve equations, we are looking at doing the inverse of everything that is done to the letter. To solve x plus 3 equals 12, the x has 3 added to it, so it must do the inverse of add 3. This will be subtract 3. When we subtract 3 from the left-hand side, we're just left with the x. Nice. When we do it to the right-hand side, we're left with 9. So we have x equals 9. We have solved. Solving x minus 3 equals 12 will involve the same steps. This time we have a subtract 3, so we need to add 3 both sides. X equals 15. 3x minus 12 seems harder to solve, but ask yourself what is happening to the x. 3x means 3 times x. The x is being multiplied by 3. What's the inverse of times 3? Divide 3, of course. So we divide the left-hand side by 3 to give us x, then the right-hand side to give us 4. X equals 4. To solve x over 3 equals 12, we must first remember what over 3 means. Over 3 just means divide 3. The inverse will therefore be times 3. 12 times 3, 36. X equals 36. We can combine what we learnt in the last section to solve equations that have 2 operations. 5x plus 3 equals 18 has a times 5, then an add 3. But which should we deal with first to solve it? A simple way of remembering is that we deal with them the opposite way round to BIDMAS or BODMAS. This would mean that we will tackle the add 3 first. When we subtract 3 both sides, we're left with 5x equals 15, which we can then divide by 5 both sides to find that x equals 3. X over 3 minus 2 equals 4 will work in the same way. Reverse BIDMAS or BODMAS means that we'll deal with the subtract 2 first, so add 2 both sides. Then we'll deal with the over 3 by doing times 3 both sides, x equals 18. Function machines are a graphic way to show what we have done in the previous sections. 3x plus 6 will create a function machine of times 3, then add 6. If we feed in an input of 2, we will times it by 3, giving 6, then add 6, giving us the output of 12. Function machines get interesting when we're given the output and we're asked to find the input. We will need to find the inverse of the operations. Times 3 will become divide 3. Add 6 will become subtract 6. If we put the output as 36, we will then subtract 6, giving 30, then divide by 3, giving the input of 10. When you have brackets, always get rid of them first. To solve 3 brackets x plus 5 close brackets equals 57, expanding the brackets gives us 6x plus 15 equals 57. We can then subtract the 15 both sides, giving us 6x equals 42. Finally, we can divide 6 both sides, giving us x equals 7. If the x term is trapped in a fraction, always get rid of the fraction first. To solve 3x plus 4, all of that over 2 equals 11, we need to get rid of the over 2 before doing anything else. To do this, we can times 2 both sides. The left-hand side will just become the numerator of the fraction, so 3x plus 4. The right-hand side will become 22, giving us 3x plus 4 equals 22. Now we can subtract 4 both sides, giving us 3x equals 18, then divide 3 both sides, giving us the answer of x equals 6. If there are x terms on both sides, always deal with this first. It is easy to start getting confident with solving equations, only to have your confidence knocked when you find a question that has x on both sides. To solve 5x plus 3 equals 3x minus 15, we need to figure out which of the x terms will be easier for us to deal with. The simplest way of doing this is look at which is smaller. Here we have a 5x and a 3x, so we will focus on the 3x. We want to remove the 3x from the right hand side. To do this, we will just subtract 3x both sides. This will give us 2x plus 3 equals minus 15. We now have a nice 2-operation equation to solve. Subtract 3 both sides, giving us 2x equals minus 18, then divide 2 both sides, giving us the answer of x equals minus 9. To solve 10 open brackets x minus 3 close brackets equals minus 2 open brackets x plus 3 close brackets, we need to first expand all the brackets. This will give us 10x minus 30 equals minus 2x minus 6. The smaller x term is minus 2x, so to get rid of a minus 2x, we need to add 2x to both sides. This will give us 12x minus 30 equals minus 6. Add 30 both sides, that will give us 12x equals 24, then divide by 12 both sides to get the answer of x equals 2. Solving equations can be used to find real-world solutions to problems you may have. Twice a number is equal to 6 more than that number. Let's pick apart this question to convert it into an equation, then solve it. First of all, we have an unknown number in this question, so we can call the unknown number x. Twice a number will be 2x. Is equal means that we can just use the equal sign. 6 more than that number means that we have our x and we're adding 6 to get 6 more. So our equation becomes 2x equals x plus 6. If we subtract x both sides, it will give us x equals 6.